Hey, what up, everybody? It's Bust doing expedition trial number 217. Let's see how it goes. Cool. We'll jump in on this Vault of Crowns Garen. If you're not familiar with it, it's a Garen paired up with Thresh. I don't know if this is how where the crowns are stored, whether it's in the plaza or in the vaults, but this is what we're going to go for here. This is one of these new champion pools that has the landmarks already in them, and so initially, like, I wasn't like super stoked about Vaults of Helia. I thought there was the possibility where it would just kill your biggest unit and then you didn't have something in your deck to replace it with, but it does say if you can. And so once we kind of figured that out, it at least moved up a little bit better, but I still have my worries about the vaults, given that you can end up in these spots to where you play a 5-cost card that just doesn't do anything, and that's huge and painful and not great. But the Grand Plaza should be pretty powerful. I haven't got the chance to play this yet, but from a Theorycraft perspective, on our turn, just making a big challenger unit, it should be able to almost guarantee a combat win. Or on our opponent's turn, just making a unit that's above grade as far as stats go, it should just take over the board pretty quickly. That's at least my initial impression on the Grand Plaza. We'll have our chance to give it a go here, and then of course we don't really like Garen, and so we'll try to trade him away, or not trade him away as much as find a different champion to do things with. But let's take a moment, get it pulled up on the site. If you're not familiar with it, it's ftpbus.com. We do have it updated for the Cosmic Creations release. The set review is over in the set review section. Easy to find there. The tier list I'm looking to update probably within the next week. I feel like I need usually about a week or so of gameplay before I feel comfortable in my ratings that we put on the tier list. And then, of course, today will be over in the Expedition Helper. If you're not familiar with it, we're just going to scroll down to Garen. And then find the Vault of Crowns. It's going to show all the cards that live in this card pool, along with what we think is important within it. And so, kind of in my opinion, it's like the big questions are, how do we take advantage of the vaults? I think that's a big one, right? It shouldn't take too much effort to take advantage of the Grand Plaza. You're just got to play units. That's as much as analysis as this goes. Like, how does this get good? You play units. If they can attack twice, like with a Grizzled Ranger, then sure, that's great. But in general, I don't think it's really going to matter what units we're playing. Like, of course, we would like to be able to do something with like Blighted Caretaker. That should just be a monster blowout if you sacrifice a unit to make 3/3 attack challengers. It's something that we'll certainly be looking for here. But even without being like ultra clever, just playing a unit should be good enough to take down something of your opponents. But as far as the vaults go, like, how do you realistically take advantage of that? And the way I think it should be realistic here is we're trying to get this Grizzled Ranger into Radiant Guardian combo. And so we'll have a Grizzled Ranger down, it'll get killed, give us a Loyal Badger Bear, and then upgrade into Radiant Guardian. And then from Radiant Guardian forward, who knows? We'll see if we're able to actually achieve anything. But it's pretty tough to keep just like a small board. And so if we are able to work on this small board plan, we do want it to kind of be Egghead Researcher and the Conservator, these kind of value early plays. But as far as that goes, I don't think that's something that like we really need to pursue just because of the vaults. We pursue those just because they're good. And so this is going to turn out to be like a mid-rangey style deck, I think. We'll have to see how it pans out if some of these other epics show up like Dawn Speakers. But I think the way that we're going to be doing this is we'll take whatever early game cards show up. Hopefully they're value generators and not just good because they have good stats. And then in the mid game, we're going to start really looking for Grizzled Ranger into Radiant Guardian. But we'll see. We'll see how this plays out. I think there's a lot of things that can go well with this. Okay, and on the opposite side, interesting. We can just kind of dodge Shadow Isles, which I'm okay with. I'm not wanting to go after Yasuo here. I just don't think he's going to be able to do anything. And a lot of these Ionia cards have the problem that I'm going to call out with Rasa, as to where they're all like playabilities, right? We're not going to get value out of Inspired Mentors. We're not going to get value out of you know, like shuffling or searching out like a Jeweled Protector or a Yone from our deck. It just doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of cards that can take advantage of summons, and that's kind of the unfortunate thing over here with Rasa. Is you know it is pretty realistic to think that we can search her out of our deck with the Vault of Helia. And then her just not do anything. I mean, it's not the end of the world to be adding a 7 attack fearsome to the board. It's just not like ultra spectacular. And so I do think I'm going to be happy with this Fiora. Should play not like fantastically with the vaults, but I think it should be okay. The big one I'm really looking at is the Grand Plaza that should you know, be pretty decent with these challengers. Like, I know just giving a unit challenger isn't that exciting, but giving a challenger unit +1/+1 is. And so I think this is the way we're going to go. Just the Nocturne Yasuo combos don't seem that fantastic here. We're not going to ever flip a Nocturne, which is okay. Like, he's good enough on his own. But I would rather my cards have like a little bit more interaction than what we get from here. So let's take a moment. Let's pull up the Shield Wall Fiora. I don't think this has any new cards in it. There's only... Oh, the Grand Plaza does live here, so we do have an opportunity to perhaps find a second one. But were there only 2 Demacia cards in the new set? I can't remember. Okay, I looked it up. Captain Erika was the other one, and I'm not super excited about that. And so we'll see what we can pull off here. I'm not sure if this will just turn into kind of like a Fiora build-around. As far as Fiora build-arounds go, we're really excited just about Prismatic Barriers and Riposts. We're going to try to find, you know, roughly 10 barriers, and then of those 10 barriers, we'd really like about 7 of them to be either Ripost or Prismatic Barrier. That's kind of the general idea with these. We'll see how this plays out. I'm not like real excited about just diving straight into Fiora build around. I would like to, you know, kind of dabble with these new cards a little bit. And so we'll try to see if we can't put together something that can take advantage of the landmarks as opposed to just focusing on Fiora. But that's always the big thing with her. The way her game plans kind of goes, you don't play anything in the first 2 turns. On turn 3, you get into combat with Prismatic Barrier. Turn 4, you get into combat with Riposte. And then from that point forward, you just do your best to get her to flip. You can start playing slower barriers like Bright Steel Protector. You might be able to take a unit down with single combat and have Fiora not die. But that's just the kind of general flow is you don't play anything in the beginning of the game. Then you play Fiora with full spell mana, and then you try to bury her for the next 4 turns. So she's, it's not straightforward. The game plan is straightforward, but the gameplay is not. So let's jump in on Fiora here. Oh, generating the best picks 2020. There we go. Okay. So I'm not really interested in the Kinku Wayfinder. These do play, you know, I think kind of interestingly with Vaults of Helia, but we're not going to play a 3-faction deck and go start picking up allegiance units. So we can go ahead and get those out of the way. I think we're just going to have to be happy with picking up these Fleet Feather Trackers and Blinding Assaults. I'm not a huge fan of Dragon Guard Lieutenant. Excuse me, I would be okay with Egghead Researchers, but these feel like something that if we do build towards Fiora, it's just not that important to take. Oh, the picks are so slow today. Really rolling the good ones together for us. Okay, an interesting set. I think we're just going to take the Blighted Caretaker. I do still have this ideal in our head that it's going to be pretty good with the Grand Plaza. It's still pretty good with the Vault of Helia. We're not guaranteed to be this Fiora deck. As far as these packs go, I mean, we did take the Shield Wall pack in the previous pack, but it didn't have any barriers in it. And so we do have to kind of think of like a fallback plan in case we don't get the full Fiora build around. And that's where the Caretaker comes in. I don't think this is a deck that ever takes advantage of the Ruination. And I'm not really happy about putting Stony Suppressors in a Fiora deck since you're trying to spend so much mana on your barriers. Okay. We've never taken these Rangeless Resolves. They seem horrible. So, like, I'm moderately interested in the Rekindler, but the kind of the problem with him is like if we've got to the point to where like Fiora's died and we're bringing her back, then we're not, you know, something has clearly gone wrong. It's not a bad deal. Like if we're gonna think that you know, we're not going to be in this this OTK build around, then it's still okay. Like bringing back a 3/3 or a 4/4 challenger to go along with the Rekindler is a pretty good bargain, especially if we've killed a 6-drop to bring the Rekindler back into play. But I think we're like more like building towards the Grand Plaza and then accepting that the Vaults of Helia is here to give us some just some value in the late game. And so I'm always happy to pick up single combats, and then Blinding Assault's fine, gives us a challenger unit. I think this would be okay to pick up. Take more time. Take more time. Okay, interesting. Another Blighted Caretaker. I think this is easier enough for us to snatch up here. I don't want these Ionia cards, and even if we did want Ionia, these wouldn't be cards that we really wanted. You could go for Green Glade Caretakers, but we only have one barrier up to this stage. Over here, Strafing Strike is okay, but we don't have any dragons, and so the Dragon Guard Lookout is going to be pretty bad in our deck. Okay, here we go. One of the worst cards in the game. We needed something to give counterfeit copies a little challenge as far as the worst card in the game goes. Have nothing to do with pesky specters. So I think we're kind of stuck just taking this Green Fang Warden. He is, pretty good with the Grand Plaza. If you can just imagine playing a 3/3 barrier scout challenger, he could probably get a pretty easy 2-for-1 or even a 2-for-0, and so I think we can do a lot with this. I'm not excited about Confront. Like, this is just an almost actual dead card in our deck, but I never like the Cursed Keeper or the Scribe of Sorrows. The problem I generally have with Confront is, like, if we look at our deck, we have like 7, probably 9 units if we include Blinding Assault, and then 2 champions up to 11, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Like the Caretaker generates them, so we can call that 5, 6, 7. 7 of our 11 cards already have Challenger, so it's pretty tough to find a place to actually play Confront. Hopefully we can just trade it away. Okay, all right. Well, we can go down this route. I guess it is safe to just kind of assume that we're off of this Fiora plan. And just onto a board. This would be like a Lucian style deck, so maybe we'll be able to find a Lucian in some later packs. But the Caretaker Collector is just too good to pass up. We can't, like, our top end is kind of hokey here. We do need to find like a bit of top end. Maybe we should just be taking like Silverwing Vanguards. But, again, like Captain Erika has this play problem. It's not the end of the world to be sacrificing a 7-drop to put a 6/6 Spell Shield onto the board, but that's just not like an ultra good deal. The Silverwing Vanguards are a good deal. They play well with both the Plaza and with the Vaults. But I think we can kind of like fix our missing pieces of our late game curve, whereas we may never see another Caretaker or Collector. Okay. Oh boy, well, here's some late game. I don't know what we could ever do with Terror of the Tides, but I have a really hard time passing up on these Neverglade Collectors. Might be a mistake to let this Detain go. I think we just have to kind of accept that this Fiora plan is passed. I really do want to kind of view ourselves as being a Lucian deck, and I think picking up a second Collector with a big boy and Terror of the Tides is pretty reasonable here. Oh, perfect packs again. What you got for us? Okay, oh, beautiful. A second Grand Plaza with a Radiant Strike. That's just super easy to take. This is the full build around that we're doing here with the Plaza. I'm not sure what I think about putting, 2 of them on the board. That seems like it could be a little awkward. It is a very real cost to take up your board slots with landmarks, and only having a maximum of 4 units on the board can be quite a price to pay. Nonetheless, I think here, like, we're kind of light on spells. It feels like I would be okay with taking the Redeemer and the Sharp Sight. That might be a mistake in the sense I do believe we're going to be able to pick up Lucians in the future. This very much feels like something where in champion picks 3 and 4, we can just take Lucian both times and then be kind of a retribution styled Caretaker Collector deck. And so that does make me kind of want to take this Senna and the Tracker. And, Senna is fantastic with the Grand Plazas, giving herself quick attack. The one I was really wanting here was Vanguard Redeemer along with Sharp Sight. But I think, our units should probably just be big enough. Sharp Sight is a very good combat trick, but I think with the 2 Plazas, we might be okay without this. So I'm going to take Senna. Okay, what do we got here? This is a real awkward set of units. The thing, like, I don't really want the Squire or the Defender, but I do kind of like to think, you know, we do have the vaults. We don't have to like dedicate a lot of our deck to it, but we have to dedicate a little bit of our deck to it, and we don't have any 4-drops at this point, and so maybe taking the Squire is okay. I am actually pretty happy with Vanguard Defenders in these style of decks, especially if we have a Grand Plaza available. So I think these are fine, even if they're not spectacular. The Defender does also help us if we play a tracker on 2 to be able to give it challenge, or a tracker on 1 playing a unit on 2. This is a lot of value down here, but I feel like we probably just have enough value to begin with between the vaults and the plazas. Okay. Awkward. I've never really been like, man, I want a Vanguard Squire, but it kind of is what it is. And the same point, this is kind of interesting here. The Stalking Broodmother being the 7-drop that we would need to pick up. I don't think I want to do that though. I think I'm going to value these Green Fang Wardens much higher than usual. Just having these scout units feels pretty fantastic when we have 2 plazas. Okay, interesting. I would like to have Hapless Aristocrats in our deck that has 3 Blighted Caretakers. It's just the all-around the best 1-drop that we can be sacrificing to the Caretaker. But this also feels like a deck to where we probably won't play these Caretakers until like turn 5 or turn 6, and so it's not ultra important, I think, to have these. So I do believe I don't want to let these barriers go. We still want combat tricks, we still want barriers, even if we aren't planning to build towards Fiora, or even in the event that we do kind of pivot and build towards those. Just this Fleet Feather Tracker and Debris Steel Protector play is huge. Blinding Assault is also very good with these protectors. These are typically the questions we ask, like if, you know, what do we do if we don't draw Fiora? And we need kind of good challengers. I'm very surprised we haven't seen any of the 5-cost Dragon. That's the challenger that I like to be like, well, okay, Fiora didn't work out. We got to replace it with something. It's that 5-cost Dragon. But just haven't seen any. Okay, interesting. I think we just have to get rid of Confront. I still have this idea in my head that Vanguard Squire could be okay. It is kind of awkward. We talked about in the, excuse me, in the initial packs. I felt like these vaults, if we wanted them to really pop off, we would need Grizzled Ranger plus Radiant Guardian. We saw 0 Rangers. This is the first Radiant. You know, if you don't see anything, it's hard to get the plan together. But with this, I'm fine to trade out Confront for single combat. This is just a card we don't want in our deck ever. And the single combat is, of course, a pretty reasonable removal spell. We passed on the 1 Detain, and we passed on the Eureka that we saw. So we can get into a lot of combats and kill things with challengers. But as far as real removal spells go, we didn't actually take anything. So picking up a second single combat should be pretty good here. Okay. So cool. Pretty reasonably happy with how this came together. Got to get those Lucians and such in here, and our top end is kind of wonky. We do have the Neverglade Collectors to close out the games. But it's like we're kind of like 50-50 with, you know, maybe we can win the game with Fiora or Challenger board control, or maybe we can just flood the board and win with Collectors. We'll see. We're just kind of like a few trade picks away from having a lot of directional things we can take here. So let's take the Defender and the Plaza. I think this should be reasonably powerful. Also curious if we should just not be playing units. I think we can do that pretty safely.
It's a big responsibility to shepherd stars.
Especially against this kind of thing. I think I'm on board with this. At least with this bank, we can play the Plaza on turn 3 and then still have a Blinding Assault to follow it up with. Getting a double Challenger attack in if we're looking to kill the Star Shepherd. Yeah, this is a pretty good blinding assault.
Ow!
Just go ahead and clear out his board. I dig it. I dig it. He didn't want to battle with our units. That's fine and understandable. Looking to just try to get some value out of this. We can bank all the way up on our mana, and then I'm not quite sure if we'll get like a good Blighted Caretaker this turn. I don't feel like we really need to add it. I think we can do a lot of work with this Green Fang Warden, and then we can follow up with a second Challenger in the Defender.
Ready, boy?
Let's actually put our damage here. And plan to come in and try to kill these with our follow-up attack.
Ready for deployment! I'll turn the tide!
He smells something. Time to get my hands
Okay,
dirty.
and then we'll value attack across his whole board unless he has a combat trick here. So sick, so sick. This Plaza's been incredible.
I bring clarity.
It's like I'm ready to just throw these units away now that we've gotten our value out of them.
Carved.
Sorry to be like that, team. He never just passes, right?
Dazzling. Never submit. Halt.
Okay, so let's go ahead and throw away our Green Fang Warden, prevent a damage from Sejuani, and then see what expensive card we pick up. This is kind of the downside to having a bunch of weaker cards in our deck, is we don't have a really good play, and then we draw Battle Fury. Okay. I think this is the first one we're going to add. We're going to add Green Fang Warden. We're going to slam him into Sejuani, and then I think we can play Fleet Feather Tracker plus Blighted Caretaker. Let's see if we can just get a big turn on his board. Then we could kind of look to play Battle Fury on his turn. Would we rather just switch to Senna? Well, I don't think so.
Reporting for duty.
Go about it this way. This will take down Tarek, Senna can take down Stellacorn, and then we can try and make a Battle Fury play on Sejuani. Next turn. Can't make a Battle Fury play now.
Missed your chance to run.
Okay. There's Big Boy.
Stand and fight.
So I mean, what does this give? This gives we play it on a 2 health unit and have it survive. This is okay.
With you, stranger.
Have a barrier to protect if he has some kind of trick here. Sure.
Oh, where that came from.
It's good. It's pretty realistic to think our Warden can get in 2 attacks next turn. Oh, just getting an open? What? He does. You gotta have something here. That was the Nightfall? Okay. What a time to be hitting deep. Do we need to go for this? I don't think so. I think we're good to just drop a barrier our warden.
Quickly, before they organize.
So cool, we should probably be able to get in a big chunk of damage now. The Traveler's awkward. He's got all the hit points. We ever lethal leave this turn? Like, assuming we add... well, we have a hard time adding 2 challengers. Well, no, we don't, because we have the plaza down. But if we can hit for probably only 14-ish.
It was my heart that led me here.
They're all bigger than my units. I think that's okay. So certainly not ideal, but if we can survive his turn, we should be okay. It might be a tall order if he picked up like the Scourge. Or, I don't think any of the elusives will actually kill us here, though.
The best journey brings me home.
Okay. I think we're in a pretty good spot now. Just the awkward thing with this board is if he... we can't really do a lot with the Blighted Caretaker. Certainly can't do a lot with the Grand Plaza.
We go.
Okay. I think we might be able to win this with Terror of the Tides. We're going to lose our unit here. Which is okay, but then we'll have the 3 challengers with the Caretaker, and we should be able to answer 3 big boys, if that's what it comes down to.
Good dog.
Cool, yeah, I think we're in a good spot here. Grand Plaza, have fun beating that. Okay.
Bring Nightbloom. I'll tell a story.
There you are.
Okay, because you'll see attacking with the Terror of the Tides, it keeps his small units from blocking our big boy, and so we should be able to just hopefully just hook Rommel and get in with the fearsome attack. Cool. So yeah, like I'm mainly interested in picking up a Lucian here. I think you know, with the composition of our deck, it should hopefully be showing us a Retribution Lucian pack over here on the right. Right, it's going to be like a Fiora and a Garen, and then Maokai. You're not what we wanted. Okay. How do we go about this? I think, you know, I want to take this Garen. I think our big problem now, and what we saw in that last game, is we just don't really have enough top end, and we had to kind of get creative with how we actually won that. And so I think, you know, with the Researcher picking up a big boy, the Chronicler of Ruin, filling in on our 4-drop slot, I think we also probably have some combos with him. Maybe just the Mage Seeker, but I think we can accept that we're not going to be a Fiora deck, and then we can pick up big units all across the board here. Feels dirty going in there and taking a second Garen. It's very rare you hear me saying that. Very frequently, it's I just don't want any Garens in my deck. Not today. Okay, all the invokes. To start with the Plaza. I don't think we want 2 of these though. So let's get rid of that. Then look for ones and blinding assaults. I really like how blinding assault played with the plaza. Okay. We have this Green Fang Warden turn on 3 if this is how this plays out. Oh man, we picked it up. Big turn next turn, big turn. And we're threatening to just throw 12 damage at him. I assume that we'll probably just get like a free unit kill at 9 damage on him, but still it's a huge turn for him. I really like this is the way the blinding assault and plazas play out. Super interesting. I have to remember this. Yeah, that means just like a free kill next turn. It's good, pretty decent chance we can get like a 2 for 0 again, or a 2 for 1 at least. Cool, I dig it, I dig it. We have the single combat with Garen next turn. Lots of cool stuff that we can do. Don't quite approve of that. Still just attack it twice.
What do you see, boy? Ready, boy?
This is kind of where the vault gets a little awkward. If we want to play the vaults, if we leave a 3, we do have a 4 in our deck. It's just not a very good one. Or of course, we really want to. We could fall down to a 2 because we do have a lot more 3s. I think that might be the way I want to go about it. I mean, it's not super exciting to be bringing back Blighted Caretakers, but it might be enough to get the job done. How long is that going to take to pay off? I think that I'm not real excited about that. Let's just get Garen down.
Good dog.
This only hits allies, so this doesn't actually pop your champions. But it still seems pretty powerful. Guess we have to just be okay with how these, how our vaults all came together.
For king and country.
These are particularly good single combats. We can just wait a turn for that.
Calm mind and open heart greet the night.
Like, I kind of wanted to get a vaults on the board. So let's see if we can still do this. I think it would be pretty good if we could get both the vaults in the Grand Plaza and flipped Garen. Okay. Looks like that's what we're going to be able to do.
Silver light.
The wicked must fall.
Just I won't have a unit on board for the vaults.
We must not.
I think that's okay. We'll get there eventually.
Stay resolute.
the Senna should be pretty threatening, although I do kind of just want to spew out our whole hand here. It's pretty tough for him to actually kill us, and we have a monster amount of stats that we're about to throw at him, and then have a open attack next turn. I think this would be quite okay. We use lethal aim here. I didn't try to do any of those sweet mathematics on this, but
clumsy weapon.
With justice and
we're
honor.
gonna be a little short. No, we're not. We got 5, 6, 11, 15 exactly. Nailed it. It's not a guaranteed kill. There's a good chance he just has another unit or he has one of those heal 2 cards, but we should be able to open kill him on the following turn.
You cannot stall judgment.
The vaults just did actual do nothing this game. It's a little sad. Okay.
I'm what nightmares fear.
We do what is right.
Strike quickly, strike deftly. Try me.
Does this get us to 2? And then say next turn he blocks Garen. Then we're getting in for 7. Okay. So this way he would have to have both a oh, we are going to vault in a unit, so we can't protect our Garen. Okay, this is fine. I was worried that if he has like a star shaping, what kind of bad shape we're in. But we just not have any 2-drops in our deck? Why didn't this kill anything? Oh, we don't have any. The hell? You can kill your most expensive ally. Does it? Oh, is it just trying to kill Garen? Whatever.
Go ahead.
Maybe I don't understand how those cards work. I guess allies include champions. Is that what I'm missing here? It doesn't say follower, it says ally. Maybe we messed this up if that's going to be the case. All right, we still beat Star Shaping. He's going to have a guiding light as well. Oh no, we're a damage short. Oh shit. Shit. I was thinking the Senna was going to be coming in for 5 attack again. That was not good. Sure. Okay. He might be able to turn this one around now. We've punted this. We could have had quite a powerful board here. Damn. So Senna's gonna die, and it's gonna bring in a Chronicler of Ruin. It's okay. And I guess the big one is if we can keep this Chronicler of Ruin on board, it'll bring in Neverglade Collector that we should be able to use to close out the game. But apparently have to see. A little worrisome against Invokes and going into turn 10. Pretty sure we can just beat an Aurelion Soul next turn if that's his only play. Oof. Okay.
Still so much to learn.
I gotta block that with something. It's got Overwhelm. How much is this? 714?
I've got your back.
So we should be taking 6 with this board. Okay. I think we're fine to pull this one off. Jeez, that was sloppy. That was a little sloppy. At least we know we're getting Neverglade Collector here. I mean, we still lose to a lot of stuff. This game's far from over, but... Ugh. Okay. I don't know what that emote's supposed to mean. Let's see what we can do here.
Another day in paradise.
You're covered.
So we want our unit to die from this. So let's just do... You're fine. You can at least survive an unspeakable horror. Try to kill his biggest one. Oh noes. Oh noes. Okay, so we won. Oh, that was that was much closer than it felt like it ever should have been. Gross. Okay. At least we got there in the end. Oof. That's my big problem with the vaults. Like, yes, our deck isn't geared to really take advantage of it, and we don't understand, still don't understand how it works. 2 months after it's been released, but it was a little sloppy. So let's see. Because again, it's kind of awkward. I think we just want the Screeching Dragon so we can pick up 5 drops and get into combat with it. This is kind of like our least ideal 2-drop, and then now that we're getting into these spots, we've kind of discovered how good the Grand Plaza is with the Blinding Assault. I think I'm okay with just throwing away some of these defenders now that we've kind of see how the pacing of these games goes. So let's pick up the Screeching Dragon. I think we do need to kind of try and at least bolster up the top end of our curve so we can push like 1 card. You know, we need to find a 6 and we need to find a 7. That's what's awkward with these things. Like, if you play a whole bunch of Constructed, you know, you can figure out pretty quickly how the vaults work. But I think in like 2 months of Expeditions, we've played against it once, and I've drafted it once. So it's kind of awkward with some of these epics. Okay, here I'm just gonna start full mulliganing for the plazas. I think that's how we're gonna be winning most of our games. Yeah, to see what we can do if we don't have it now. I fully expected we were just going to draw it. Luxheimer, Aurelian Soul. Okay. So this is a deck we should probably be as aggressive as we can against. Especially if we don't have the Plaza. Okay, we can pass on this one. Okay, drew the vaults, now gotta start looking over here and seeing what we can do.
Track them down.
Fact, I am superior life form.
Interesting. Okay.
Prime and ready.
My shield is
Not
yours.
an exciting start here. These Blighted Caretakers not good against this deck. They really need a Lucian or a Callista to shine.
Protect and strike.
Whoa, big boy. Guess that was his draw for the turn. That's fine. That's not the end of the world.
Can you improve perfection? A ticket. to the gun show. System upgrade.
Alright, well, we got all the caretakers, that's for certain.
The journey is difficult. These will protect you.
This gets awkward. I just don't think we can play anything here. It's not like we're affected like too negatively. We want to play vaults next turn. This is awkward. So we can could have looked to add a chronicler. This doesn't seem exciting. None of this seems exciting without Grand Plazas. I don't like any of this. Let's just add the vaults and pass. Maybe he'll add something we're interested in hooking, but I don't think we're quite at that stage. Maybe we should just plan to hook the conservator. That seems pretty weak though. Maybe not. I mean, this is still a reasonable. Maybe we should have just opened now that we're a little bit further along.
These gems grant a wearer harmony.
Prime and ready. Can you improve perfection?
Alright, yeah, our curve is fairly messed up for this thing to ever be any good, but we gotta see what we can do with it. We could see how bad this deck functions without a plaza. It's kind of frightening.
System upgrade. Rise, metal brethren.
Just don't really want to add any of this. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, had to cut the recording off real quick. Not real happy about how any of this is panning out. He didn't attack, which was fine. We could have chroniclered our. I was thinking if we wanted to chronicler our. What's it called? It was our Green Fang Warden. It wasn't really up to the task for that. I think we have to start like doing something, at least chunking some of this damage in here. Gotta build up our board to something reasonable. And at least now the vaults will bring out Neverglade Collectors. I think that's the only way we're going to win this game, is just to throw a bunch of units at him with Neverglade Collector and hopefully do something with Terror of the Tides.
Nothing to worry about if you have nothing to hide.
And so here, I don't think we can even add anything here. We want this, I guess, yeah, well, maybe we'll get some value out of this later. This has just been completely awkward. This game would have been so good with a Grand Plaza, and then without it, it's just, I don't really know what we're supposed to be doing.
Gave my all.
Alright, there's collector number 1. We can add our chronicler to get collector number 2. Or we can go ahead and add Terror of the Tides.
Stay safe, milady. Mages are everywhere.
Oh, don't you worry about me.
Okay. Let's see where this gets us.
Let's brighten up their day. For justice and all things bright.
Time to get my hands dirty.
I don't really want to block a whole lot of this because I want to hang on to our 4-drop. Because this is going to get hit with the vaults, and I want to hang on to our Blighted Caretaker so that we have a unit to sacrifice next turn. So I'm just going to barrier this thing and block his 4/4, take 9, and then we should be able to recover a lot of that health with our double Caretaker that we're about to have down.
Prime and ready. Rise, metal brethren. System upgrade.
What? Why don't I understand how this... Oh, it's because we have a collector down. Oh, fuck me. I don't understand. I don't understand how any of these cards work. Okay, then.
Everyone's a garden.
Heaven should be you.
I don't think we can add Garen. We have good attacks otherwise. Yeah, we've played this one. This one's been extremely awkward. I've got to figure out how the Vaults of Helia work. We should at least get some opportunities to draft this again, but I kind of want to pick and choose what I'm birthing potting away here. I just don't get to do that. Can we replace the vaults with the Grand Plaza? I've never seen what happens when you have a full board and want to add something when one of those things is a landmark.
Pushing my limits!
Okay, I'm okay to just give up on this one. That's been too awkward. We're too far behind, and we're up against the slugs. Let's just move forward. I've gathered a little bit more knowledge on how those things work. Oh man, I did realize it's a little late, but I meant to go and I want to get like one premium card every run, and so we'll go and do that after this game here. But with these, this is awkward, right? Like we want to be able to keep upgrading into like Radiant Guardians, but we kind of like everything in our curve above 3 is really awkward as far as that goes. I think we just got to kind of focus on we're being like we only have the one copy of the of what's it called, the vaults, and we probably shouldn't be drawing it that frequently. But so I think I'm okay to get rid of the Conservator and pick up a Radiant. At least it does play well with our vaults plan, and then it's just a good unit in general. I decided we're gonna upgrade the Fleet Feather Tracker. I think I have enough of these essences to do it. There we go. Look at all the shiny that is. Planning on doing one a run. That's what we're gonna do for the foreseeable future. You got to see how much essences I can craft and how much that damages the pocketbook before we get too deep into it. But I'll try to remember that earlier on. I don't know how many of you all make it this far in the run. You can drop a sweet comment if you're one of the few that watch the whole thing. And okay, here I'm fine to get rid of all of these. Again, we're just going to hard mulligan for the Grand Plaza. We should be able to come back up with a reasonable set of cards if we don't find it. These games feel tough when we don't draw it. This guy doing the same thing, Garen Thresh, yeah. So we drew the vaults. Okay, I think we have to add something to the board. We can't just continue on forever with nothing. Uh-oh, gosh.
He smells something.
After we've been abusing our opponents with the Grand Plaza, it feels painful to see our opponent open with it. We know how powerful it is in these matchups.
Come on.
Okay, let's let him get his attacks in first.
Something.
I'm okay to just take 3 from this.
Where that came from.
Really?
Ready, boy?
Okay.
Always 2 steps ahead.
I think we can somewhat manage this.
Why have we never sparred, Fiora?
The outcome was obvious.
Can't be adding vaults here. We just gotta get our Garen in and try to barrier through his boards. Oh, that's good. We're gonna at least get to flip our Garen. Okay, we can do something here. To open our plaza just a little bit too late.
I have no time for fools.
All right, let's see if we can't get him
Protect
post combat.
House Law.
Maybe we should have. I was thinking if we wanted to play a Glimpse Beyond there, maybe we wanted to so that we could try to find a unit for our caretaker. But I think these. Oh come on, man! This dude's sad. He's got everything. Okay, not dead to this at least. That's pretty brutal. 8. So he's just got the single combat as well. Jeez.
We must not relent!
Okay. Let's see what we can do to survive this one. I'm really kind of regretting not glimpse beyonding that Fiora. Look at that. Look how shiny you are. You're so shiny. But I think we just got to do as much as we can to wear this board out.
Oh, fresh soil.
As it stands, this will full clear his units.
What delightful agony we shall inflict.
Let him flip a Thresh. I think we don't really have a choice in the matter.
They grow up so fast.
We'd have to get this shit off board if we're getting into combat next turn. It's pretty horrible. Hang on, let me rethink this. Let's actually go ahead and spin this one as well. I want to have a second unit on board, so if he open attacks us with his champions and stuff, we still have a caretaker hanging out.
The grove follows.
The wicked must fall.
Okay. Uh-oh. Was this too dangerous? Oh, that's scary. And I'm... Sharp sight. Yeah, that might have been overly aggressive. Is there... Oh yeah, there's a reason to glimpse beyond here. Probably just can't, though. We have to be able to block his Thresh. So if he opens, we'll just get hit with a Garen, which is okay. Oh man. Okay. Yeah, we should have never attacked with that Garen. I didn't. We wouldn't have. We were never going to kill his Thresh. I was kind of interested in just putting damage on his Thresh, but I think we're so far behind now. Oh, has it just got a combat trick?
We fight for those who cannot.
Probably just did do a combat trigger. Oh no, his Garen's just huge because of the plaza. Okay, that was interesting. Alrighty. Let's see. Let's get this one pulled up here. So it's tough. We knew that was going to be a problem with the the Grand Plaza. We had a lot of the things that for when it goes right, things we can do when this goes okay. The Green Fang Warden being spectacular, Blighted Caretaker being pretty good here, but kind of the problem we ran into is that if we talk about this a lot with Fiora. The two things we talk about when we're getting into a Fiora OTK deck is what do we do if we don't draw Fiora? That is, kind of the important part at the beginning of the games, especially when you're only at 0 wins or 1 wins, when you don't have very many copies of her. How do you actually win those games if you never draw Fiora? And then, that typically just involves having a bunch of challengers in the early game so you can at least manage your opponent's board. And then the second thing is, what do we do if we draw Fiora and things go wrong? And that's where we talk about having a bunch of Screeching Dragons in our deck. So if we've, attacked with Fiora, she got like 3 ticks on her, then our opponent vengeances her. Like, what do we do with those remaining prismatic barriers and riposts? The answer, typically Screeching Dragon, maybe a Radiant Guardian, maybe you picked up a Gen VV or something, but that's how we kind of talk about Fiora. And so if we're looking at the Grand Plaza, we can look at this in much of a similar light, because you could see how all those games went. Those games where we drew the Plaza, we crushed. The games where we didn't draw the Plaza, we got crushed. The game where we didn't draw the Plaza and our opponent did, we got super crushed. And so you can see like a lot of the raw power in this, but it's the same story. If we're just looking at this as kind of like a champion, what do we do if we don't draw it, if we don't see these plazas? And I'm kind of okay with how our deck was set up for that. But like the Blighted Caretaker payoff just wasn't quite good enough. This doesn't, the Caretaker, I might still have it like stuck in my head with like how good it used to be. It used to just be like a spectacular combo before Call of the Mountain, and then ever since Call of the Mountain's been released, his quality has gone down quite a bit. And I don't think that's like necessarily a function of the cards that were released. Like a lot of the Targon cards do play extremely strongly against this kind of Caretaker opening. But I think it's just kind of how the metagame is shaped up. Adding in one faction's not that big deal. You're not going to play against those Targon decks 8 times out of your run. But it's kind of like shaped how the other decks are trying to look, and it just doesn't feel like as spectacular of a unit as it used to be anymore. I still think it's pretty spectacular, especially in this deck and when things are going right. But maybe he's just like an A- instead of an A+ now. But anyways, like that was kind of like where we found ourselves. Is that it feels like we had like the right ideas and the right tools. I really liked going after these early game challengers. We had the Bright Steel Protectors to kind of work with our Blinding Assaults and Fleet Feather Trackers. I like this kind of whole ideal. But without the Plaza, we just couldn't find boards to where these Caretakers were good, and then our hand was getting like stuck full of these. And so I think if we'd had Lucians, or if we'd had what's her name, Callistas, that's where the Caretaker really shines. I think the problem that we had with these was we just didn't have enough like synergies working with it. Just generating units wasn't enough synergies. Like, we would have rather these been whatever the double bird is called. Welcome to a bus stream where we start calling stuff Challenger Bird and Sleep Feather Tracker, and then Double Bird, which is the Silverwing Vanguard. But right, we would have rather those just been double birds. And so I think part of the problem that we had here were like the cards that we were shown. I think a lot of the cards do play particularly well with both Grand Plaza and the Vaults of Helia. I think we probably just shouldn't have invested so heavily in this Caretaker plan, and we probably should have tried to fix our curve up just a little bit more to where we could have fully hit the vaults. But nonetheless, the Caretaker aside kind of got me off track. Is like, what do we do if the Plaza never shows up? And I don't think we just had enough interactive elements for that to work. We didn't, and the big problem with those being like our 3-drop selection. It looks like we have a ton of 3-drops. It's the biggest section of cards over here, but that is also these Blighted Caretakers, Green Fang Wardens, like, are only 3-drops out of these 11 that can deal with a 3 health unit are Senna and Fiora. And so I think that's where, when I was trying to look at this, what do we do if we don't draw the Plaza, how things were going wrong. We could never really contest our opponent's boards because we didn't have any 3-attack units. And I think that is where this really fell apart. And so on the flip side of the coin, what do we do if we draw the Plaza and they remove it or something? It's not a huge deal. We should have probably, gotten a touch of value out of it. We aren't counting on this to win us the whole game. We're kind of just counting on this to come down and get, play some Green Fang Wardens and get some 2-for-1s, play the Caretaker, get some 2-for-1s, play Silverwing Vanguard, get some 2-for-1s. And not really counting on this being on the, it's not the end of the world if this isn't on the board the whole time. If you do end up trying to draft this Grand Plaza deck on your own, I think the big thing to really look out for here are what we touched on. I would call it the three main points are you do still want to pick up these early game challengers, be it your Fleet Feather Trackers, your Blinding Assaults, and then the assist from the Brightsteel Protector. You do still really want this combination of cards to show up. Just an all-around great Demacia start, a great way to start challenging your opponent's things, no pun intended, and to also they also combo extremely well with the Grand Plaza. Already having challengers kind of a moot point when get to play the tracker on its own and challenge, and that Blinding Assault play was pretty big. And then secondly, try to mind your curve. We we had to really stretch to pick up 4-drops. You do want Double Bird to be your 4-drop, and then just kind of make sure you at least have one unit across the whole way. I admittedly didn't play these Vaults of Helia too spectacularly, but we also got stuck on these a few turns in a row. It would have, if you have a 6 and a 7 and an 8, and then you randomly draw your 7, then kind of fun, but at least set yourself up for success. We set ourselves up for a lot of turns to where we couldn't take advantage of the vaults, and it was just an expensive play that didn't do anything. But that is going to do it for this run. I think we still have some rewards rolling around here. We got the Epic Capsule, the Regent Road is back in action. Lots of stuff going on here. Oh, the Scar Grounds. Ready to give it a try too. Maybe it'll show up in our next trial. So let's see, Freylord icon. I kind of want to change my icon on occasion, and then we've just had it for so long. I just want to hang on to that astute academic. But I think that's it. We'll go and click on everything. It appears to be like we've gotten it all. And that is going to do it for us today. So I hope you all had a good time watching. You learned how to go to the plaza a little bit better and learned how to get those decks constructed. I do want to thank everyone for being here, and this is Bust. Thank you for watching.